Welcome, wanderers of the dark and seekers of the unknown, to Whispers on the Asphalt, your go-to channel for spine-tingling tales and haunted histories. Here, we explore the eerie corners of the world where shadows stretch longer than they should and the hum of tires on pavement is often accompanied by whispers from beyond. Today, we embark on a chilling journey along some of the most haunted highways in the Pacific Northwest, a region renowned for its breathtaking landscapes, dense forests, and a rich tapestry of folklore that blurs the line between myth and reality. The Pacific Northwest, with its mist-shrouded mountains, winding coastal roads, and endless stretches of wilderness, has long been a breeding ground for ghostly legends and unexplained phenomena. These highways, carved through rugged terrain and steeped in history, are more than mere conduits for travel. They are corridors of mystery, where the past lingers like fog over a moonlit lake. From spectral hitchhikers to phantom vehicles, from cursed landmarks to blood-soaked stretches of asphalt, these roads hold secrets that defy explanation and challenge the boundaries of belief. In this two-part series, we will peel back the layers of the supernatural, revealing the haunting stories behind the region's most infamous routes. Whether you're a skeptic or a believer, prepare to have your curiosity piqued and your courage tested as we delve into the unknown. So buckle up, keep your headlights on, and join us as we navigate the shadowy highways of the Pacific Northwest. Let the journey begin. The guiding lights of the West Coast, a journey into darkness. There's something undeniably enchanting about lighthouses. Standing tall against the relentless fury of the ocean, they are beacons of hope, guiding sailors safely to shore through treacherous waters and impenetrable fog. But beneath their stoic exteriors lies a darker truth, one steeped in solitude, sacrifice, and secrets that refuse to stay buried. Along the rugged coastline of the American West, where jagged cliffs meet crashing waves and winds howl like mournful spirits, some of these iconic structures harbor tales far more sinister than their glowing lanterns suggest. For centuries, lighthouses have served as sentinels of safety, yet their isolated locations made them magnets for tragedy. Keepers tasked with maintaining their lights often lived lives of quiet desperation, cut off from society and subjected to the whims of nature's harshest elements. It's no wonder that many of these lonely outposts became fertile ground for ghostly legends. From phantom footsteps echoing in empty halls to shadowy figures glimpsed atop crumbling towers, the haunted histories of these lighthouses are as varied as they are chilling. This is the first episode in our series exploring the most haunted lighthouses on the West Coast. Together, we'll delve into the eerie pasts of these storied landmarks, uncovering the stories of those who once called them home, and those who may never have left. Whether you're a skeptic seeking rational explanations or a believer eager to peer beyond the veil, prepare yourself for an unforgettable journey into the unknown. So dim the lights, grab your favorite blanket, and let us guide you through the shadows cast by these spectral sentinels of the sea. The Heceta Head Lighthouse, guardians of the ghostly flame perched dramatically on a cliffside overlooking Oregon's untamed coastline, the Heceta Head Lighthouse stands as one of the most picturesque, and reportedly haunted, beacons along the Pacific. Built in 1894, this iconic structure has guided countless ships through the perilous waters near Cape Perpetua, its white walls gleaming under moonlight, and its Fresnel lens casting a steady beam across the restless waves below. Yet, despite its serene beauty, whispers of supernatural activity have swirled around the lighthouse for over a century, earning it a reputation as one of the most haunted sites on the West Coast. At the heart of the Heceta Head legend is Rue, a mysterious figure believed to be the spirit of a former keeper's wife who met an untimely end within the lighthouse's confines. According to local lore, Rue was a devoted partner to her husband, assisting him with his duties while raising their children in the adjacent keeper's quarters. Tragedy struck when Rue fell gravely ill during a brutal winter storm, leaving her stranded miles away from medical care. Her death plunged the family into despair, and her grieving husband continued his work at the lighthouse until he could no longer bear the weight of his loss. Some say Rue's presence remains etched into the very fabric of the building, her sorrowful energy lingering long after her passing. Visitors to the Heceta Head Lighthouse frequently report encounters that defy explanation. One of the most common phenomena involves the faint scent of roses permeating certain rooms, a floral fragrance attributed to Rue herself. Guests staying overnight in the bed and breakfast portion of the keeper's quarters describe waking up to find fresh rose petals scattered inexplicably across their bedsheets, only to discover there are no flowers nearby. Others recount hearing soft humming or singing emanating from empty hallways, a haunting melody reminiscent of Victorian-era tunes Rue might have sung during her lifetime. But Rue isn't the only spectral resident said to haunt the lighthouse. Many believe the restless spirit of a former keeper also roams the premises, driven by an unyielding sense of duty even in death. Reports abound of disembodied footsteps climbing the spiral staircase leading to the lantern room, accompanied by the metallic clinking of tools. Staff members tasked with maintenance duties swear they've seen tools moving on their own or lights flickering without cause, as if an unseen hand were ensuring the beacon remains operational. During particularly stormy nights, witnesses claim to spot the silhouette of a man standing vigil at the top of the tower, gazing out toward the horizon as though scanning for ships in distress. Perhaps the most spine-chilling account comes from a group of paranormal investigators who spent a weekend documenting activity at the site. Armed with electromagnetic field, EMF, detectors and audio recording equipment, they captured a series of unsettling anomalies. Thermal cameras revealed cold spots concentrated near the base of the staircase, while EVP recordings picked up fragmented phrases such as, "stay away," and, "I'm still here." One investigator even snapped a photograph showing what appears to be a translucent figure leaning against the railing inside the lantern room, an image that has since become infamous among ghost hunters. Despite, or perhaps because of, its haunted reputation, the Heceta Head Lighthouse continues to draw curious travelers eager to experience its macabre charm firsthand. For those brave enough to book a stay in the keeper's quarters, the promise of encountering Rue or another spectral inhabitant adds an undeniable allure. Whether you're drawn by the breathtaking views of the Oregon coast or the thrill of communing with the unknown, this storied lighthouse offers an unforgettable glimpse into a world where the line between past and present blurs, and the echoes of yesterday linger just beyond reach. As we continue our exploration of haunted lighthouses, few places rival the haunting beauty and spectral intrigue of the Heceta Head Lighthouse. Its blend of history, mystery, and natural splendor makes it a fitting introduction to the dark tales awaiting us further down the coast. Point Reyes Lighthouse. Shadows beneath the fog nestled amidst the wild beauty of Northern California's coastline, the Point Reyes Lighthouse stands as both a guardian and a grave. Commissioned in 1870, this historic beacon was constructed to warn mariners of the treacherous rocks and shifting sandbars lurking off the shores of Marin County. Overlooking the vast expanse of the Pacific Ocean, the lighthouse perches precariously on a rocky promontory, battered relentlessly by fierce winds and dense banks of fog. Its remote location and harsh conditions earned it a fearsome reputation among lighthouse keepers, but it is the tragic events tied to its operation that have cemented its status as one of the most haunted sites on the West Coast. One of the darkest chapters in the lighthouse's history unfolded in 1886, when a devastating fire broke out in the keeper's quarters. The blaze began late at night, sparked by an overturned oil lamp in the cramped living space shared by keeper James Anderson and his family. Despite their desperate attempts to contain the flames, the fire quickly spread, consuming everything in its path. By the time help arrived from nearby Inverness, all that remained were charred ruins and the lifeless bodies of Anderson's wife and 2 young children. Anderson himself survived, but the trauma of losing his loved ones drove him into a deep depression. Locals whispered that he spent his remaining years wandering the grounds, muttering apologies to phantoms only he could see. Today, visitors to Point Reyes often report feeling an oppressive weight pressing down on them as they approach the lighthouse. This sensation grows stronger near the remnants of the keeper's quarters, now reduced to a foundation swallowed by weeds. Paranormal investigators have documented numerous instances of strange phenomena linked to the fire. Cold spots dot the area, particularly around the site where the house once stood, and EMF meters spike erratically without any apparent source. Audio recordings capture faint cries and muffled screams, sounds eerily similar to those described by survivors of the original disaster. Some claim to smell smoke wafting through the salty air, though no fire burns nearby. Another recurring element of the lighthouse's haunting involves sightings of a spectral figure believed to be Keeper Anderson. Witnesses describe seeing a gaunt man dressed in period clothing pacing back and forth along the cliffs, his face obscured by shadow. On several occasions, tourists have mistaken him for a park ranger before realizing there's no one else around. Those bold enough to call out to him report hearing a low, guttural response, though no words can be discerned. Others recount feeling an icy hand brush against their shoulder, accompanied by a whisper so faint it sends shivers down their spines. The lantern room itself serves as another focal point of paranormal activity. Visitors ascending the narrow staircase to the top often experience sudden drops in temperature, forcing them to pull their jackets tighter despite the mild coastal climate. Once inside, many report seeing flickering lights reflected in the Fresnel lens, even when the mechanism is powered down. One particularly chilling incident involved a photographer who captured a photo of the lens bathed in an ethereal glow, only to realize later that the image showed the faint outline of a child peering through the glass. Park rangers dismiss such claims as tricks of light, but frequent visitors insist otherwise. Adding to the lighthouse's ominous aura is the prevalence of animal behavior anomalies. Seabirds nesting on the cliffs seem unusually agitated near the structure, squawking loudly and taking flight en masse without warning. Deer grazing in the surrounding fields freeze mid-step, ears pricked, before bolting into the forest as if pursued by an unseen predator. Even marine mammals appear affected. Sea lions basking on nearby rocks grow restless during storms, barking incessantly as if trying to warn others of impending danger. Despite, or perhaps because of, its haunted reputation, the Point Reyes Lighthouse attracts thousands of visitors annually. Nature enthusiasts marvel at its stunning vistas and rich biodiversity, while history buffs appreciate its role in maritime navigation. For those intrigued by the supernatural, the promise of encountering the tormented souls of the Anderson family, or something far older and more malevolent, proves irresistible. As dusk falls and the fog rolls in, obscuring the landscape in an impenetrable gray haze, the lighthouse transforms into a place where reality blurs, and the boundary between the living and the dead dissolves. Point Reyes reminds us that not all tragedies leave visible scars. Sometimes, the wounds run deeper, embedding themselves into the very soul of a place. As we continue our journey along the haunted shores of the West Coast, the shadowy legacy of this lighthouse serves as a sobering reminder of the sacrifices made in service to humanity, and the restless spirits that refuse to fade quietly into oblivion. Battery Point Lighthouse, echoes of the sea tucked away on a craggy island just offshore from Crescent City, California. The Battery Point Lighthouse stands as a sentinel of solitude and secrecy. First lit in 1856, this diminutive yet resilient beacon has endured over a century and a half of battering storms and encroaching tides, its lights steadfastly guiding sailors through the hazardous waters of the northernmost stretch of the California coast. But behind its quaint charm and picturesque setting lies a tapestry of haunting tales woven from shipwrecks, suicides, and supernatural occurrences that have branded it as one of the most haunted lighthouses on the West Coast. One of the most harrowing stories tied to Battery Point involves the wreck of the America, a merchant vessel that ran aground during a violent storm in 1872. The ship, laden with precious cargo, struck the jagged rocks surrounding the lighthouse, sending its crews scrambling for survival. Though some managed to reach shore, others were swept into the churning surf, their cries for help drowned out by the roar of the waves. Local legend holds that the spirits of those lost sailors still linger near the lighthouse, their anguished wails carried inland by the wind on stormy nights. Visitors walking the rocky shoreline often report hearing distant shouts and splashing sounds, as if the doomed men are still struggling to escape the sea's unforgiving grasp. Adding to the lighthouse's spectral infamy is the tragic tale of keeper Thomas Stevens, who took his own life in 1902 after years of battling isolation and despair. Appointed to maintain the light at Battery Point, Stevens grew increasingly reclusive, rarely venturing beyond the confines of the small island. Neighbors recall him speaking of voices whispering in the darkness, urging him to abandon his post. One fateful evening, Stevens scaled the tower and leapt into the icy waters below, leaving behind cryptic notes, scrawled in shaky handwriting. Since then, staff and guests alike have claimed to feel an overwhelming sense of dread within the tower, particularly during thunderstorms. Some describe seeing a shadowy figure pacing atop the lantern room, silhouetted against flashes of lightning, before vanishing without explanation. The interior of the lighthouse is no less haunted. Guests staying in the keeper's quarters, now operated as a museum and occasional bed and breakfast, frequently recount eerie experiences that defy logic. Doors slam shut on their own, and objects inexplicably move from one room to another. One guest swore she saw a teacup levitate off the kitchen table, hover momentarily, and then crash to the floor in pieces. Others describe waking up to find their bedsheets pulled taut, as though someone, or something, were lying beside them. Perhaps most disturbing are the accounts of disembodied laughter echoing through the halls, a sound both playful and mocking, as if the spirits enjoy toying with the living. Paranormal investigators who have explored Battery Point describe it as a veritable hotbed of supernatural activity. Thermal imaging cameras reveal significant temperature drops in key areas, including the lantern room and the basement storage area. EVP recordings capture faint voices muttering indistinct phrases, interspersed with the unmistakable sound of water sloshing against rocks. One team captured footage of what appears to be a translucent hand reaching out from the wall near the base of the staircase, an image that has since gone viral among online paranormal communities. Even the lighthouse's surroundings contribute to its haunted atmosphere. At high tide, the island becomes completely cut off from the mainland, accessible only by boat. During these periods, visitors stranded on the island report feeling an oppressive sense of claustrophobia, compounded by the sensation of being watched. On clear nights, the reflection of the lighthouse's beam creates ghostly apparitions dancing across the water, giving the illusion of figures moving toward the shore. Fishermen anchoring nearby swear they've seen pale faces staring back at them from the depths, their features distorted by the rippling surface. Despite its unsettling reputation, Battery Point remains a popular destination for tourists eager to experience its unique blend of history and horror. For those brave enough to cross the tidal channel and spend the night, the opportunity to encounter the restless spirits of sailors, keepers, or otherworldly entities proves irresistible. Yet, as each new visitor steps onto the island, they must ask themselves, are they prepared to confront the echoes of the sea, and the darkness that dwells within? Battery Point exemplifies how isolation and tragedy can transform a place into a repository of grief and terror. Its haunting legacy serves as a poignant reminder of the fragility of human existence in the face of nature's might, and the enduring power of memory, even in death. As we continue our exploration of haunted lighthouses, this tiny beacon stands as a testament to the resilience of both light and shadow, forever entwined in its storied past. Yaquina Head Lighthouse, the phantom keepers vigil rising majestically above Newport, Oregon's rugged coastline. The Yaquina Head Lighthouse cuts an imposing figure against the endless expanse of sky and sea. Completed in 1873, this towering structure, standing at 93 feet, the tallest on the Oregon coast, has long been a symbol of endurance and guidance. Yet beneath its sturdy limestone exterior lies a legacy steeped in mystery and melancholy. Known locally as the Phantom Keeper's Lighthouse, Yaquina Head is said to be haunted by the spirit of its first keeper, Benjamin Ford, whose devotion to duty ultimately consumed him. Benjamin Ford arrived at Yaquina Head in 1874, tasked with maintaining the newly constructed beacon. A meticulous man by nature, Ford approached his responsibilities with unwavering dedication, often working late into the night to ensure the light burned brightly. However, the isolation of the station took its toll. Separated from his family and plagued by bouts of insomnia, Ford became increasingly withdrawn, speaking only to voice terse instructions to assistants or jot down entries in his logbook. Over time, his mental state deteriorated, culminating in a tragic incident in 1881. On a particularly stormy evening, Ford disappeared without explanation, leaving behind only cryptic notes scrawled in the margins of his journals. His body was never found, fueling speculation that he had succumbed to madness and thrown himself into the churning waters below. To this day, visitors to Yaquina Head report eerie encounters believed to stem from Ford's unresolved fate. The most consistent phenomenon involves sightings of a solitary figure clad in period attire, pacing the catwalk and circling the lantern room. Witnesses describe the apparition as gaunt and hollow-eyed, his movements jerky and mechanical, as though driven by an invisible force. On several occasions, tourists attempting to photograph the lighthouse have captured blurred images of the figure leaning against the railing, gazing out toward the horizon. Park rangers dismiss such claims as tricks of light, but frequent visitors insist otherwise, pointing to the uncanny resemblance between the ghostly figure and historical depictions of Ford. Inside the lighthouse, the air grows heavy with an unshakable sense of foreboding. Visitors ascending the 114 winding stairs to the lantern room often experience sudden drops in temperature, forcing them to pull their jackets tighter despite the mild coastal climate. Once inside, many report seeing flickering lights reflected in the Fresnel lens, even when the mechanism is powered down. One particularly chilling incident involved a volunteer who swore he felt a cold hand grip his shoulder as he adjusted the lens. Turning quickly, he found no one behind him, yet the sensation persisted, as though an unseen presence refused to release him. The keeper's quarters, located adjacent to the lighthouse, serve as another focal point of paranormal activity. Guests staying overnight frequently recount bizarre occurrences that defy logical explanation. Objects inexplicably move from one room to another, and doors slam shut on their own. One guest reported waking up to find her belongings scattered across the floor, arranged in patterns resembling nautical charts. Others describe hearing faint footsteps echoing through the halls, accompanied by the rhythmic ticking of a clock that hasn't worked in decades. The most unsettling accounts come from those who claim to feel an icy draft pass through them, followed by the whispered phrase, "Keep the light burning." Paranormal investigators have conducted numerous expeditions within the lighthouse's walls, capturing compelling evidence of its supernatural inhabitants. Thermal imaging cameras reveal cold spots concentrated in specific areas, including the lantern room and the base of the staircase. Electromagnetic field (EMF) meters register unusual spikes, particularly near antique furniture pieces believed to have belonged to the original keepers. Perhaps the most intriguing discovery came during a live investigation broadcast online. Viewers watching the feed spotted a translucent figure darting across the screen in real time, prompting widespread speculation about the nature of the entities haunting Yaquina Head. Adding to the lighthouse's spectral allure is its proximity to the Devil's Punch Bowl, a natural rock formation carved by centuries of relentless wave action. Local folklore suggests that the Punch Bowl acts as a gateway to the underworld, drawing lost souls toward the lighthouse like moths to a flame. Visitors exploring the area often report hearing disembodied voices calling their names or feeling an inexplicable urge to step closer to the edge of the cliffs. Some claim to see shadowy figures emerging from the mist, their forms dissolving into nothingness as they approach. Rangers caution against venturing too close, citing both safety concerns and the eerie atmosphere that pervades the site. Despite, or perhaps because of, its haunted reputation, Yaquina Head continues to attract curious travelers eager to immerse themselves in its storied past. For those brave enough to climb its spiraling staircase or spend a night in the keeper's quarters, the promise of encountering Benjamin Ford's restless spirit, or perhaps unraveling the mysteries surrounding his disappearance, proves irresistible. Yet, as each new visitor crosses its threshold, they must decide whether they are ready to face the darkness that lingers within these walls, or will they become another chapter in the lighthouse's tragic tale. Yaquina Head stands as a testament to the duality of human ambition and vulnerability. Its towering presence commands respect and admiration, yet its haunted corridors whisper warnings of the perils of obsession and isolation. As we continue our journey along the haunted shores of the West Coast, this storied beacon reminds us that even the brightest lights can cast the deepest shadows. Patterns across haunted lighthouses. As we delve deeper into the haunted histories of the West Coast's most infamous lighthouses, striking similarities emerge, weaving a thread of eerie consistency through their disparate tales. These patterns are not merely coincidental, rather, they underscore universal themes of human emotion, unresolved trauma, and the enduring power of memory. From the Heceta Head Lighthouse spectral rose petals to the Yaquina Head Lighthouse phantom keeper, these structures share a commonality that transcends location and era, binding them together in a spectral sisterhood of sorrow and suspense. One recurring motif is the concept of unfinished business. Whether it's the lost sailors of Battery Point or the tormented keeper of Point Reyes, these spirits seem tethered to the earthly realm by grievances left unaddressed. Their presence manifests as restless energy, often communicated through auditory phenomena, cries, whispers, or disembodied voices, that serve as pleas for acknowledgement or closure. This theme resonates across cultures and belief systems, reflecting humanity's innate need to resolve conflict and seek peace, even in death. Another shared characteristic is the role of architecture in amplifying paranormal activity. Historic lighthouses like Point Reyes and Yaquina Head, with their labyrinthine staircases, thick stone walls, and isolated locations, create environments conducive to isolating individuals and heightening fear. These structural elements act as metaphors for the psychological barriers erected by those who suffered within their confines, trapping emotions such as anger, despair, and regret. It's no coincidence that many reported hauntings occur in spaces imbued with emotional significance: bedrooms where families lived, lantern rooms where keepers labored, or basements where supplies were stored. Lighting and sensory manipulation also feature prominently in these narratives. Flickering lights, sudden temperature drops, and inexplicable odors are staples of ghostly encounters, designed to disorient and unsettle. Such phenomena strip away the comfort of familiarity, forcing visitors to confront the unknown. The use of reflective surfaces, a recurring element in stories from Yaquina Head and Heceta Head, adds another layer of psychological tension, as mirrors and lenses distort perception and blur the boundary between self and other. This interplay of light and shadow becomes a tool wielded by unseen forces, creating moments of visceral terror that linger long after the initial shock subsides. Finally, the prevalence of historical context cannot be overstated. Each lighthouse's haunting is deeply rooted in its unique past, shaped by the socio-cultural milieu of its time. The maritime tragedies embedded in Battery Point's DNA contrast sharply with the personal tragedies immortalized at Point Reyes. Yet both narratives tap into broader archetypes of ambition, betrayal, and mortality, ensuring their resonance with audiences regardless of personal experience. By drawing on these universal motifs, these haunted lighthouses transform from mere buildings into living repositories of collective memory, inviting us to peer into the abyss of our shared humanity. Thus, while each establishment boasts its own distinct flavor of fright, the underlying threads connecting them reveal a tapestry rich with meaning. These patterns remind us that the supernatural is not so much about the entities themselves but the stories they tell, the echoes of lives interrupted, passions extinguished, and truths obscured. As we continue to explore these haunted locales, we find ourselves grappling not only with the specters of the past but with the timeless questions they raise about life, death, and everything in between. The enduring fascination with haunted lighthouses. Why do haunted lighthouses continue to captivate us? At their core, these spectral sanctuaries serve as portals to our deepest fears and curiosities, offering a tantalizing glimpse into realms beyond comprehension. They embody the duality of human existence, our simultaneous yearning for connection and our dread of isolation. Within their walls, the past refuses to remain silent, speaking through creaking floorboards, flickering lights, and disembodied whispers. These phenomena challenge our understanding of reality, forcing us to confront the uncomfortable truth that some mysteries may never be solved. Haunted lighthouses also tap into our primal fascination with storytelling. Every ghostly encounter, every chilling rumor, contributes to a larger narrative that transcends individual experiences. Whether it's the tragic love affair immortalized in Heceta Head or the maritime disasters etched into Battery Point, these tales resonate because they reflect universal themes of loss, betrayal, and redemption. They remind us that history is not merely a sequence of dates and events but a living, breathing entity shaped by the emotions and actions of those who came before us. Moreover, these haunted locales provide a safe space to explore fear itself. In an era dominated by technology and predictability, the unknown holds a peculiar allure. Visiting a reputedly haunted lighthouse allows us to flirt with danger without genuine risk, indulging in adrenaline-fueled thrills while knowing we can retreat to the safety of daylight. This controlled exposure to terror satisfies our innate desire for adventure, making haunted lighthouses a unique form of escapism. Ultimately, the enduring appeal of haunted lighthouses lies in their ability to bridge worlds, past and present, living and dead, known and unknowable. They invite us to step outside the boundaries of logic and embrace the ineffable, reminding us that the line between fact and fiction, reality and imagination, is far thinner than we might believe. As long as humans seek to understand the mysteries of existence, haunted lighthouses will remain beacons of intrigue, beckoning us to unlock their secrets, one trembling step at a time. Dear reader, as we bring this journey through the most haunted lighthouses on the West Coast to a close, I hope you've felt the same spine-tingling allure that has drawn countless souls to these spectral sentinels of the sea. These stories are more than just campfire tales or urban legends. They are fragments of history, stitched together by human emotion, tragedy, and the unrelenting passage of time. Each creaking floorboard, each whispered name, and each fleeting shadow serves as a reminder that the past is never truly gone. It lingers, waiting for someone brave enough to listen. But why stop here? If these accounts have stirred something within you, a spark of curiosity, a shiver of excitement, I urge you to take the next step. Visit one of these haunted lighthouses yourself. Walk the same halls where spirits are said to roam, ascend the spiral staircases where footsteps echo without explanation, and let the unknown brush against your senses. Whether you're a skeptic seeking proof or a believer eager to commune with the other side, these establishments offer an unparalleled opportunity to confront the mysteries that lie just beyond the veil. And when you return, share your story. Did you feel the icy touch of a ghostly hand? Hear the faint strains of music in an empty corridor? Or perhaps nothing happened at all, but isn't that silence just as intriguing? Your experiences add to the rich tapestry of lore surrounding these haunted lighthouses, ensuring their legacies endure for generations to come. Until then, keep your lanterns lit and your courage steady. The spirits are waiting.